Hello, 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 hello. How are we doing today? Good day, good day, good day. My name is Christabel, and I will be taking this module 10, and it's a two-part module on evangelism and discipleship. How has your journey been so far? Hope it has been great. Hope it has been enriching. Okay, so we are going to get right into it. Discipleship, evangelism first, and then discipleship. So let's start this way. You know, when you've experienced something good, um, you usually would want to share it with somebody, right? Whether it's a new movie, a new restaurant, a good app that you saw on your phone, you usually just want to tell other people. That's actually what evangelism is simply telling other people about your faith, about Jesus and how he changed your life, right? So that's what evangelism is. Discipleship, on the other hand, is about helping the people who you have told about Jesus, who now have experienced him like you have and are now born again, helping those people to grow in their relationship with Jesus. Because you know that what we have with Jesus is not religion. There are religious activities that we do, right? But it is not first a religion. What we have with Jesus is a relationship. We are called to, relate with him, to know him as he knows us, right? So, discipleship is about helping other people to grow in their relationship with Jesus. Now, it is not about being a pastor. You don't have to be a pastor, you don't have to go to Bible school or all those things. No, you can just be a young person, who has found Jesus and who has shared them with somebody else and who is helping them in any way, that you can with what you know, to grow in their own relationship. All you need to do is to be willing and to be full of love. Because you've experienced love, you want others to also experience that love. That's all it takes to be an evangelistic person and a discipler. All right. So, like we said, evangelism is sharing the good news, and the good news in this sense actually is the gospel. The gospel is the good news, right? That's actually what it means. Gospel is good news. And what makes the gospel is that it talks about Jesus Christ, his death, his burial, his resurrection, right? So it's not good news because it's motivational speech. Oh. It's good news because it's talking about salvation through Jesus Christ, his death, his burial, his resurrection, his ascension, and his coming again. Those things are what makes it the gospel. That we cannot get to God on our own, and somebody has helped us, and now if we put our trust in him, we can be saved. Okay. And so when we share that and invite others to believe like we have been believed, like we have believed, that is it. We've evangelized. So evangelism is not sharing tracker, it's not sharing paper on the street, it's not, no, it's just basically about, that sharing that paper can help people know about Jesus, so that's the only reason why that counts, right? But I'm just saying that it's not, it doesn't mean that anybody that doesn't have a tracker they are sharing is not evangelizing. No, evangelism is actually about sharing your story, sharing your experience with somebody else, so that, not just gisting them, so that they can also have that kind of experience, right? So imagine that a friend is stuck in a burning building, right? And you know the way out of that building. You would not just watch, I believe so. Okay, so let me ask you, would you watch your friend burn in the building, or are you going to go and tell them that you know the way out of the building? I'm sure you're going to go and tell them that you know the way. That's what evangelism is helping people find the way out of sin and death through Jesus Christ, right? And we have some scriptures, actually many scriptures, that tell us that we need to share what we have received, and scriptures showing us others who shared what they received. But for the sake of this short class, we're going to look at Mark chapter 16 verse 15, and it says, go into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation, right? And then Romans chapter 1 verse 16 says, I am not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God for salvation, right? So if you've experienced it, you cannot be ashamed of it. You should not be ashamed of it. You should want to share, because you want people around you to, find a way out and have the experience that you've had as well. Okay, so quickly we're going to look at practical ways that you can evangelize, especially as a young person. Number one, share your testimony. What's your God story? Okay, and we're going to look at how to craft that God story soon. But yes, you share your testimony. You invite a friend to church or youth group. That can takes the work away from you, because when they come, most likely they will hear something that may start a conversation, or they even hear something that makes them to decide to follow Jesus already, right? You can post encouraging scriptures or truths on your social media, which will open up people to come and ask you questions, and just know what you represent. Your relationship with Jesus should be loud. In any place where you show up, it should be clear that you have a relationship with Jesus, you know him, and those things open ways that people can ask questions. Same way, you should not approach life or like post things that make people wonder if you believe in Jesus. We are not doing secret agency here, and we're not denying the one we know. Do you understand? So you represent, intentionally, not because you are pretending. It should be real. It has to be real, except you have not met him. If you've met him, then it should be real. How you show up will make people want to know, what's going on. So yes, posting encouraging scriptures, truths, and things like that on social media is one way that you can evangelize. You can offer to pray with somebody who is in distress. When somebody tells you they are sick, and I hope that's what you already do on your own. Do you pray for yourself? Immediately you feel ill, immediately you are, stressed. Do you go to prayer? Because that is what will make you respond that same way to a friend. When somebody says, I'm having a bad day, and you offer to pray for them, they'll be like, oh, okay. Thank you. What is that about? Why did you pray for me? And conversations can start. So most of these things are like conversation starters for you to now share the gospel. Remember, the gospel is about Jesus, his death, his resurrection, and his ascension plus his burial. Okay, like everything he came to do to save us. Another way you can share the gospel or evangelize is to ask questions. You can ask somebody questions like, do you believe in God? Can I share something that changed my life? Things like that can open up conversations, and then you can share the gospel. Okay? All right, so the part 2 is on discipleship. Now, we already said that discipleship is helping somebody grow deeper in their relationship with God. You walk with them, you encourage them, you answer their questions, and you point them to the truth. Okay, you are not the truth. Discipleship is not about you. So they are disciples of Jesus through you. Okay, you are just pointing them to the one who is really the teacher, who is Jesus. Okay, so Jesus didn't just preach to the crowds. If you notice, he had people who went home with him, who asked him deeper questions, like the 12 disciples. He was teaching them, he was correcting them, he was encouraging them, and because of all the things they learned, and how they became more and more like Jesus, they were able to turn their world upside down, and they are the ones that are the reasons why we still have the gospel today, right? So let's look at what discipleship looks like. Okay, it looks like checking on a friend who you led to Christ. How are you doing since you maybe said the salvation prayer? What has been happening? So it can just look like we're gisting, but everything is pointing to Jesus. Everything is pointing to the truth of Jesus, right? It's about helping somebody. You can do it by helping somebody understand how to read the Bible. Somebody's like, where do I start? And if you have that kind of question, please ask it. Where do I even start? Why is it boring? Things like that. And then you share the truth. That's why it's good to ask questions to your own disciples, to the people that God has raised or brought your way, your big aunties, your uncles, your friends that know more than you. So as you learn those truths, you can also share them with somebody. Okay, it's can be by answering questions like, how do I pray? Why should I forgive? Scriptural answers, not vibes, not ChatGPT. No, biblical answers. So that's why it's important that you know it. You know it, you live it. You are convinced about it, so you can help somebody. You will now also, you're not doing it to help somebody, you're doing it for yourself. Then you will now be able to also help somebody when they need it. Do you get? So just like when somebody asks you, what does it mean to be a human being, you can have conversations around that, because you're a human being, right? And you've been navigating that for no matter the number of years that you are. Okay, so the same way, what does it mean to be a Christian? You can answer because you've been a Christian, even if it's just for 1 day or 2 days. Share what you have, what you know, and then as you keep going, you keep getting better and you keep discipling better. Okay, it also looks like encouraging them when they feel like giving up. All right, so it's important that you are real and you share your struggles. So being a disciple is not about being perfect or coming off perfect, like, oh, everything is perfect in my life, I have it all together. No, it's important that people also see how you live the life of God in your daily lives. When you feel tired, when you feel sad, when things are happening that are not making sense, how are you a Christian in those kind of scenarios? Is very important. Okay, so important note that we need you to know is that you don't need to know the whole Bible, or you don't need to have read your Bible cover to cover in order for you to start evangelizing or being a disciple. You just need to love Jesus, you need to love people, and you need to be available. All right, you need to remember that you were saved to save others, and you were found to help others to be found. The things you know is because somebody shared with you, and others we know because you share with them. Okay, so these are some reflection questions that I want you to have. Who are 2 people that I can pray for to know Jesus? It's important that you note that down. Okay, and what is stopping me from sharing my faith, and how can I overcome it? In fact, for this part, we would like to hear from you, and maybe we can discuss how to overcome some of those things that are stopping you from sharing your faith. Now we have an assignment. This assignment is going to help you craft your God story. Okay, so we want you to write your testimony, and there'll be 3 parts to it. The first part is before Jesus, and what you're answering here is, what was my life like before I met Jesus? What was my life like? Okay, the next part is how I met Jesus. So what happened that made me believe? What was the game changer that made me believe? Then the third part is, after Jesus, how has my life changed, right? What is happening now that was not happening before, now that I have believed in Jesus? And once we put this together, we have your God story that you can share, and that can be a conversation starter. Remember, your story is not just for gists. It is to lead people to know or hear about the gospel, and the gospel is about Jesus and what he did for us. Okay, so we're looking forward to seeing you craft your God stories, ask your questions, and we'll be here to answer it, and we're looking forward to all the Lord is set to do with you. Congratulations on coming this far. The Lord is on your side. God bless you. Bye.